Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Loads of drama over the last few days with what's happening with the players formerly of the Guard. Are they going to join an entirely new organisation and become the 11th VCT team as a team of 5? Are 3 of them potentially going to go down that route and the rest go to different organisations? Or are they going to all go their separate ways here in the VCT? Formerly, the Guard, Tex has given his thoughts on this over the last couple of days, but also some leaked communication last night between NRG coach Chet and Tex himself, implying in part that Tex to NRG is definitely a possibility, but also some spicy words, it's got to be said, suggested as to which organisations are actually giving these guys opportunities for next season, and it's not necessarily the teams that they would want to be knocking on their door. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. The world's greatest gamer tourney is right now ongoing with Ludwig of course putting it on. Zekken was there, Tens was there. I think that they I think Zekken was like made bit of an issue here with the Fall Guys, but Tens did make it all the way to the day 2. So I think a lot of the not necessarily massive favourites bowed out of the tournament already, and then there'll be day 2, day 3, and then we'll see who wins overall. There was also this interesting bit of drama going down for the state of Mississippi. So the state of Mississippi has banned any software owned by Tencent, of course Chinese-based conglomerate really, owned, like being operated on the state-operated network, shall we say, so being used at all. Now the University of Mississippi of course has its own esports team, and they have been unable to play their collegiate matches because they can't access the Riot servers, because obviously Tencent has an ownership stake there and owns Riot Games. So all of the guys that tried to play in their collegiate matches, they couldn't do so because they simply can't get on the servers. Like, may have to cancel scrims. The state legislature has blocked Riot Games and all PCs is a new one. So I don't know what the solution is there. I don't know if a VPN to another state would have to be necessary. But that's definitely an interesting and rather unfortunate story for those guys. But it's definitely interesting that legislature is even coming in to that effect. Now let's talk Rostermania, because there have been some rumors going around as to what's happening in the kind of Asia Pacific region. So DFM, they'll be forming an all Japanese roster apparently going forwards. Zeta and G making major changes, as we discussed over the last few days. Interesting if Zeta are as well, just because it's an interesting team, right? They had decent success, but never really delivered much on an international stage last season, despite winning their respective last chance qualifier. So, big changes apparently happening for them. Also, lots of, as I've said, changes with G happening. Team Secret is making a questionable decision, so I guess we'll see about that. And T1 is signing Izu. Now, we still don't know what the plan is exactly for Paper Rex, whether they will be signing, well, they have to sign a replacement for Jing, that much is obvious. Who it's going to be, there were some rumours over the last couple of weeks. We know that Forsaken's older brother Excurate has been grinding a fair bit of Valorant, seemingly with the intention to get into the VCT somewhere. So that is definitely a possibility. I don't think he'll be Paper X's primary target, but who knows? Maybe it's another Scream Nevera situation in that region. Now, as I'm sure you're all aware, the big talking point of the last 7 or so days here has been what's going on with the Guard. We know that they won their Ascension tournament. Their organisation wants out of esports. They didn't sign the partnership agreements. Therefore, Riot said, oh, fantastic. We don't have to pay these guys a stipend. We can just say, unlucky guys, you're out of here. Sorry to the players, we're really disappointed for you, but there's nothing we can do, even though there literally is something you can do. And they eventually backtracked, as we saw yesterday, and said, you know what, we mishandled this, we should have taken more time to consider our situation, and we will happily allow you to pursue opportunities, which already existed, by the way. Like, they could already have joined another organisation, but or they can present a suitable candidate organisation for the Ascended slots. And this is what we'll get back to, because the theory was, the rumour of the last few days, that some big organisations here might be interested to get involved, because Disguised Toast is saying that there's organisations in Tier 2 that are ready to pay mega salaries just to try and get into Ascension and actually sign that deal that the Guard didn't sign and get into Tier 1. So as a result, you would think that organisations like FaZe, G2, maybe TSM or something, maybe even Optic, would be interested to sign these guys and come up to the main league. Now, the issue with that is that if you are a guest slot, as they're going to be, you don't get the same benefits. I don't think Optic will be interested, primarily because they won't even get team skins, right? They won't get the Optic team skin merchandise because that's not a thing for the guest slots. So this is why I think we're probably seeing some of the top organizations all of a sudden somewhat less interested in getting into challenges. But even like FaZe, for example, like even if they were to not sign the guard players here, they were to win Ascension next season with whatever team they put together, they still won't get those team skins unless Riot changes their minds. But there are certain things that are excluded. You get some financial benefits for sure if you get in, but you don't get all the benefits that an actual partner team has. So these candidate organizations might be less, extravagant than we might have expected initially, and the guard players now have to decide what they're going to do about it. So Tex says, who's been linked to certain teams, as have pretty much all of their players, with respect to maybe Jonah P hasn't really been talked about too much elsewhere, but we've heard Valin, Net, Trent, like Tex even, all of these guys have been linked to various teams, Sentinels, Cloud9, NRG especially. So Tex says, fantastic stuff, like, good dub from the community, and we're going to try and make this happen as potentially a team of 5. And that's the implication, that as a team of 5, they can try and find a new organization. The issue is that if the organization isn't anything special and they might make more money going to another team, then that's probably what they're going to decide to do. And I actually think that it's still more likely than not that there's only 10 teams next season and the guard players go to different organizations respectively, especially as of these leaked DMs last night from NRG Chet. So he puts the stream live yesterday and discusses kind of how things have gone from NV to Optic to NRG, looking at some games. He actually answers an interesting question here I'll share for you guys on FNS, and he was asked did he know that FNS was deciding to step away, and he actually wasn't aware at the time, which is very interesting stuff, implying certainly that NRG were intending to keep him and Som around.
Should I answer this question? Did you know FNS was leaving Energy after Champs, and did you want to keep Som?
It's up to you, chat.
I even answer this. Okay, I guess no, I don't know. I didn't know he was gonna leave. That's all I answer.
But as that stream went live, there was this moment that was accidentally leaked here, and I feel bad really for, talking about this, but unfortunately it's the nature of things. You leak something on stream, we're going to talk about it. It's just how it is. So we'll get to what happens on the left-hand side here in a second, because there's more things to note here based on which other people he's actually talking to here in this Discord. But firstly, we've got to discuss what he's chatting about with Tex. So he's talking a little bit about which organizations are potentially coming the guards' way to get them signs. As he talked about here, they said G2 hasn't mentioned anything roster related to them, and that the offer is coming at the end of the weekend or so. Chet says that's the only org that came your way. Tex is like, nah, FlyQuest, Dignitas, etc. So kind of saying that, G2 are interested, but also other organizations are interested as well. And then Chet says, the mid ones, right? So, straight up roasting these organizations. I mean, Dignitas seems like it's a legendary esports organization. I don't know how they're doing financially or whether they're stable enough, but they seem at least like a respectable team to play for, Dignitas. I don't know so much about FlyQuest, but I feel like they should fall into not a particularly dissimilar category. But and then Tex says, yeah, lol. Now, I feel bad for Tex here really, because obviously he didn't expect this to go public, and he's getting heavily roasted now for basically saying that, oh yeah, FlyQuest, Dignitas, mid-organizations, but it was Chet that said that, right? It was NRG's coach that said that, and Tex obviously was just giving his points over. And in a private conversation, Tex, even if he disagrees with what Chet has said here, Tex isn't going to say, oh, what do you mean the mid-organizations? No, they're good. Like, he's not going to say that, is he? You're chatting with a friend. He's trying to get his further points across. So, it's just one of those things that it makes Tex look bad, but I don't really think that he's necessarily implied anything crazy here. It was Chet that made the initial point. So, but it is interesting because organizations like FlyQuest and Dignitas will see this going around today on social media, maybe even G2, who knows, and we'll think, damn, this guy, he doesn't respect us and all, maybe we'll just withdraw the request, right? Which, hopefully they don't do that. But, you never know, really, do you? So, it's not ideal. I don't know if Tex feels like he needs to put a statement out about this or something, but yeah, as he says, just know if someone gets screwed over during all this. So definitely the implication is that they are going to try and get signs and G2, FlyQuest, Dignitas, something like that. But as Tex says, maybe in the ideal world, he'll get picked up to NRG, right? Obviously, Chet's still over there. I'll be on a revenge tour on all these kids, mostly the orgs, not really the players. So, can he come to Discord? So, yeah, seems like some interesting conversations going on here between Tex and Chet, and Tex obviously saying, look, maybe just get me onto NRG. That could be a viable solution to the current situation. Now, I also wanted to dive into into what's happening on the left-hand side, because if you guys don't know Derek Truong, he has got to be one of the most like rampant agents in the Valorant scene. He reps like absolutely everyone in this scene, it seems. So, and you can see that at the bottom here, he's in a group chat with Derek Truong and Narrate, who is actually a player that I think was linked to NRG a couple of, maybe a week or so ago now. And also at the top here, we have Saadhak and Derek Truong, which is very interesting, no? Like Saadhak, of course, IGL for the Loud team that may or may not be having issues and splitting up, and we've got Chet potentially in a group chat there very recently with Saadhak discussing, you know, who knows, right? He's talking to Derek, he's talking to MCE, the coach of Cloud9, and that's, I mean, he's in this group chat with Crashies and Victor as well. Obviously, Trent is on here as well on the left-hand side, which is interesting just because, you know, he's another player in the conversation. So, yeah, unlucky that Chet leaked all of this stuff, but it's not my fault, you know. We're going to talk about it because it's entertaining and interesting for the community to see. So, yeah, massively intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. I don't know if there's going to be any, you know, repercussions here, if Dignitas and FlyQuest and these teams have reached out to Tex and said, oh, we're interested to sign you, and now they're seeing this and think, oh, you know, disrespecting us or whatever. I don't think they will. I don't think that's the case anyway, frankly. And obviously, if G2 give them an offer, that's what they will prefer to do. And to be honest, that's more likely to be accepted by Riot anyway. But I still think there's a very realistic chance here that the likes of Tex and others end up just joining different organizations, and maybe one or two of them gets left out to dry, and there's no 11th team after all, and maybe NRG Tex is one of those possibilities there. Now, Disguised also saying, like, you know, expect the unexpected. DSG are coming in big time to get this to work. And look, we did see the other day that G2 Rob said, like, you know, let's make some phone calls and try and make this happen. So seems like there's some possibilities there, but it also seems like there's massive questions and potentially further implications for what's going to happen with NRG. If indeed there are conversations with Trent, with Narrate, especially with Saadhak, because let's not forget they do need an IGL on that roster, then things could get really interesting, like with FNS and Som deciding to step away as a duo. So yeah, I mean, look, it's NA cannot go one day without drama. Like, there wasn't even much that went on yesterday apart from this, and it's a pretty massive leak, to be honest. So, there's that happening. There was also this from Nismo kind of saying, like, our John QD to Sentinels and all this. So, you know, I think there's a lot of IGL lottery going around at the moment, or roulette, I suppose, as it were, where we've got, oh, maybe it's Valin to Sen, or maybe it's FNS to Sen, but now it's not FNS to Sen, and maybe Valin goes with the other guys on the guard again. So now maybe it's John QT to Sen. So if John QT is not going to NRG after all that we thought he might be, then maybe it's Saadhak to NRG. So like, it's all going on at the moment. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.